Hey, welcome back to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so you can easily choose the best watch for yourself in the comfort of your own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online, and if you'd like to know the price, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate if you purchase your next watch from us at JazzTime.com. Today we'll be going over quite an interesting watch. This one's a limited edition Omega, also known as the America's Cup, the 36th America's Cup, reference number 215-32432-104001, well, better known as 36th America's Cup. We'll be going over the case, dial, bezel, the crown functions, as well as the movement, and I'll be giving you my thoughts on all of these features, including the bracelet as well, and the wearing experience throughout the video. Alright, so we're going to start off with an unboxing here. So we're going to open this one up. This is actually probably the smallest Omega box I've ever seen, and quite nicely it's all within this very nice, concise, and elegant package. Velvety sort of texture on this zippered up case here. Alright, so we have the watch inside here, and we have the matching papers to go with it. We have the warranty, master chronometer, and the pictograms all here. Alright, and here we also have a list of all the specifications. Alright, so we have, like, sort of on the back also a description and sort of like a certification of basically ownership once you get this. Okay, so on the inside we have a list of the specifications, all the descriptions, and basically what the watch looks like as well, front, back, and all of that. Alright, so there's that, and of course we have the operating instructions. We're not going to go over that because I'm going to tell you how all of this works in this video, so you don't really need to worry about all of that. Now, looking at this, we have a zippered front, very interesting red and blue color scheme here, very fitting for the America's Cup. Alright, as you can see on the inside, matches all the paperwork as supplied, and here's the watch itself, nicely wrapped around this very firm pillow, so you know that this watch is not going anywhere. Alright, take this out, and we've also got a silhouette of the America's Cup on this little pillow here. Okay, so let me place this down here, put all of this back together, nice and easy. Alright, and here is the watch. Now, first a little info on America's Cup in general. America's Cup is actually, well, not really related to America at all. In fact, it's a yacht race sponsored within Auckland, New Zealand, also known as Aotearoa for those of you who are familiar with the Pacific Islands. Aotearoa, otherwise known as New Zealand for most of us. Alright, at least in the English-speaking world. It's where the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron's boat, the Te Rehutai, actually won 7-3 in March 2021. Right now we're in starting the second quarter of 2021, so this is a very new watch. Also, in that respect, this is also a limited edition watch, one of 2021 pieces total ever made. All right, and this is quite a sort of like a commemorative piece to go along with that. So honoring the defending champions New Zealand against the challenger Italy. And it's known as the America's Cup because the very first winner was known as America. That's the name of the boat, sponsored by, I believe, a club in New York who basically wrote a whole title, a deed of gift, basically, of the America's Cup to say that, in order to compete, you must follow all these specific rules and all of that stuff. So it was named after the first yacht that won the race. All right, now on to all of the rest of this. All right, so now we have the case here, all in a stainless steel composition here. All right, brushed along the sides here. Let me zoom in a bit. Brushed along the sides with the first bevel being a high polish. All right, nothing too new from Omega here, except this high polish does have a thicker sort of accent than what I'm used to seeing. All right, it doesn't really taper all that much down toward the lugs. It sort of keeps its own profile as it goes along the sides, both the 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock sides. All right, we have the helium escape valve at the 10 o'clock, the winding crown at the 3 o'clock, and of course the the screw down case back essentially on the back. All of that allowing you up to 600 meters or 2,000 feet of water resistance. We have a diameter of 43.5 millimeters, so this is quite a big boy here, all right, with a thickness of 16.04 millimeters. Not going to slide under a suit cuff very easily, maybe a jacket sleeve, all right, but I wouldn't really go much further than that. Let me lower you here. Okay, so all of this case body, again, a sort of like alternating brush with a high polish and brush finish, as you can see. And on the front, we have a ceramic bezel here with a sort of like blue, white, and red with painting on there to match all the colors of the America's Cup. All right, matching the entire color scheme here. It sort of brings the dial forward as this blue ceramic sort of sinks back into the background, becomes sort of like a secondary piece to the main event, which is the dial. And talking about the bezel here, we have very, very steep, well, I wouldn't say steep, I would more like a deep and very, very sharp knurling. All right, so you're not going to injure yourself on this at all, but in typical Omega fashion, it's a very noticeable and very recognizable unidirectional click. All right, and unidirectional meaning that it only rotates one direction, not the other way, because this is made sort of like as a diving watch in their sort of Seamaster line. As you can see on the dial, it is a Seamaster model. So keeping that in mind, we also have the Super Luminova applied onto the dial. Let's focus nicely here. All right, a nice bright blue for most of the markers here, except for the minute hand and the diving pearl at the 0 for the bezel there. All right, and that's you can time your decompression stops nice and accurately by lining up both the green minute hand with the green pearl. Nice and easy, relatively simple. So you can time basically your time intervals within intervals of an hour each, or if you're crazy enough, you can do minute timers by lining it up with the second hand and timing it from there. All right, and you can read it based off of the bezel. Relatively simple function there. A very good timer, I must say. A little bit better, in my opinion, than a chronograph. All right, so anyway, we're looking at the crown functions here. Actually, before we do that, let's talk about the dial a little bit. All right, so this dial, it is a zirconium dioxide dial. What does that mean? That's basically a ceramic dial. If you zoom in very closely and look very closely at that dial, you can see that there's a zirconium dioxide etching in there underneath the center of the dial. Very hard to see on this monitor here, but it's certainly there. All right, so polished white. So as you can see, it's a very reflective surface, but not to say that it's unreadable, because those applied index markers are in blue with a red varnish on top with this sort of 12, 6, and 9 representation with a red minute hand. All right, all of it to give a very nice tasteful accent, not overbearing with the red and not overbearing with the white either. A very nice balance, so you get nice red accents with an overall white presentation. All right, and taking a look at the hands here, we have a polished faceted blue hands with white Super Luminova, as I showed earlier. It has a blue emission with the hours and seconds hand in line with the indices. The green emission is within the minute hand again, and with the dot on the bezel. All right, and the minute hand, by the way, also does have a red varnish, as I described earlier, with the central seconds hand with the America's Cup logo on the counterweight. If you haven't noticed yet, take a look at that counterweight of that seconds hand as it slowly sweeps across. We have a silhouette of the America's Cup, much like what you would see on the back of this case, as well as, throughout the entire branding here. Okay, now taking a look at the crown functions, we have basically what you would expect. Simply unwind the crown to the first position. This allows you to wind the watch. If you're at a dead stop, 20 to 30 full winds is all you really need to get it started once again, and up to full power capacity. All right, pull the crown out to the next position, continue to rotate it clockwise, and you can actually move the minute hand. So there's no quick set of the date, but it sort of has like this GMT style movement. It's a very interesting way of doing it, and I actually quite like this because you do get to sort of control your AM and PM more explicitly this way, rather than sort of guessing with the quick set date features of other modern watches. So here, you can simply rotate it into the next day and you know which time is AM and PM because you're physically moving that hour hand. So quite a very good experience overall, I must say, at least. And chances are you're probably not going to be speeding forward in time rapidly, so that you probably don't even need the quick set date. All right, pulling the crown out to the final position. Note that it stops the seconds hand, so it has that hacking seconds function. So you can then move the minute hand precisely to any position as required and as dictated by that seconds hand. So you can very easily do so, synchronize it up with an atomic clock, and press it back in, screw it back in tightly against the case to ensure that superior water resistance. All right, so what makes all of this work? It's the movement. The coaxial chronometer caliber 8900, officially certified by Metas. All right, that's to say that it ran through a whole bunch of tests after casing. It has 39 joules in total, a frequency of 2000 vibrations per hour, meaning 3.5 hertz. That's an interesting little tidbit there. It's sort of in between the lower beat movements of, say, Audemars Piguet, who go with the 21,600, and the high beat of, say, Rolex, or some of the newer Audemars Piguets, which are 28,800 vibrations per hour, or 4 hertz. This one's right in the middle, 3.5 hertz. A very interesting frequency, but nonetheless, it very much fits in line with the uniqueness of this watch. We have a power reserve total of 60 hours. All of these features are exclusive to this caliber, the 8900. It has a magnetic resistance of 15,000 Gauss with the time zone function, as I showed you, just moving the hour hand. That does help you keep time with moving time zones without affecting the seconds hand. It has the silicon balance spring with the Omega free sprung balance with coaxial escapement in 3 levels, 2 barrels, 2 mainspring barrels mounted in series, so you have that very good, excellent 60-hour power reserve. All right, and it also has a nice luxury finish, as you can see on the back there. All right, it's very hard to see through the all the patterning there, but it's basically what you expect from any sort of Seamaster. All right. It has the bi-directional winding rotor, so basically all you need to do is just wind the watch with the crown entirely all the way, and then just simply wearing this on your wrist will keep it wound, because the natural movements of your wrist will move this internal bi-directional winding rotor. All right, very, very useful. All right, and now taking a look at the bracelet here. Well, they call it a bracelet, it's more of a rubber strap. It's an integrated blue structured strap, very, very thick, with sort of this textile pattern on the front, and basically made out of this rubber, with a nice white stitching accent with these blue accents going down the sides as well as down the center for all of the sizing needs. Okay, the clasp here is it's a fold-over clasp with double push-button deployment system. All right, so you just simply press on both of those to release it and press it down again to snap it shut. It's not going to open accidentally. There's no way, unless you somehow manage to press both buttons simultaneously. And even then, the strap isn't really going anywhere because it's held together with this minderless system, what's known as a minderless system. Because there's no loops here, all of the excess strap goes actually underneath the strap here, and it doesn't actually sort of sit on top of the strap as you would typically find in cheaper models, or lower cost models, or say with leather bracelets, for example. All right, And looking at the lining underneath, we have a very nice matching smoother, slightly smoother rubber lining, but it does have these waves so that it nicely grips the wrist. All right. And let me actually, while we're here, we can actually talk about how it feels on the wrist. So I'm not going to size it to myself because, well, this thing is just massive, right? Again, at over 40 millimeters in size and diameter, this thing is huge on my wrist, as you can see. All right, and with a lug-to-lug span that basically covers my entire wrist diameter, I have a 7-inch circumference wrist. So if your wrist is smaller, well, this will be even gaudier for you, perhaps. But if you like the wrist presence, then go ahead. There's nothing stopping you, except maybe, you know, the limited number of pieces that this is made with. All right. Taking a look at it straight down, face on the wrist. Again, I'm not getting a whole lot of bracelet, so it's not bad because I do get to see the time and, you know, all of the branding that goes along with the commemoration of the 36th America's Cup very nicely displayed on the wrist. When it comes to the overall balance, it's actually incredibly light. The rubber strap isn't quite that heavy to counterbalance the rest of the watch, but if I pull it taut on my wrist, I can barely feel that the watch is there. So I can tell that all these ceramic construction, along with the what seems to be like very minimal actually steel construction as well, makes this an incredibly light watch for how big it is. So very, very good, very excellent engineering from Omega there. And taking a look at it on the wrist, looking down the wrist, all right, again, 16 millimeter thickness. This boy is a chunker. Again, maybe under a jacket, but not so much a suit cuff. It has a very good elevation off the wrist. All right, so if you have this taut nice and snug to the wrist, it will still have plenty of space underneath these lugs to sort of accommodate more venting and breathing of the wrist. All right, so very good and comfortable feel overall. I do like these this wave pattern. It doesn't feel like much of anything when you rub your fingers over it, but when you have it on your wrist, it feels so soft, and you can actually feel these little waves on the inside of the strap. Very, very comfortable, extremely soft. All right. It's just something that you have to experience yourself. And anyway, enough of my thoughts. What do you guys think about this watch? Let us know down in the comments below what you think. If you learned something about, you know, this watch or something about New Zealand, about it being actually originally called Aotearoa, all right? Maybe if you like that information, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when we go live with another video like this one. And as always, if you'd like to purchase this watch or any other watch, let us know. Go to jazztime.com, links in the description below, to purchase this watch or any other watch, new, discontinued, or even in current production, or even limited, like this one. We'll see you in the next one, and be sure to hit that buy now button. All right, we'll see you next time. Take care.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.